What's up, everyone? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the GDP numbers that just came out, as we're seeing an interesting reaction. What you should be watching for as time progresses for the markets. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends very soon, in just about 6 days from now. Anyways, looking at SPY, I just want to mention that we're seeing a little rebound attempt after we got some very important GDP numbers. SPY is actually trying to get back to about this 542 resistance. We'll have to see what kind of reaction we get, at least moving forward. But I wanted to talk about this. The GDP numbers were actually not bad. GDP growth was at about 2.8% above expectations, so not bad whatsoever, showing some good, solid signs of growth thus far, at least on paper. The GDP price index was below expectations, another sign that prices are decreasing. So that's once again another good sign for disinflation. And then we also have other factors out there like GDP sales quarter over quarter, which are once again below expectations, but it's not really that bad. So overall, the numbers were quite decent. Also, initial jobless claims was at 235,000. That's also a little below expectations. So we got decent data today. I also want to note that at 11 o'clock a.m., we have the Kansas Fed Composites Index and Manufacturing Index also coming out. And we have some bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. So I just want to call that out, guys. Make sure you watch for all of this very, very carefully. A couple of things worth mentioning about the markets and a bit of a sell-off, and now we're going to be watching to see if there's any kind of reaction from GDP numbers. And there's not really a whole lot else that's coming out that's too crazy. I also want to note that American Airlines just announced earnings, and we also have like Skechers after the market closes, but nothing too crazy. Unfortunately, American Airlines, the shares are down over 5% because they had weak profit forecasts, not to mention the fact that they barely met on revenue, but they did beat on EPS with $1.09. But I just want to say that, excuse me, once again, their guidance was not that great, part of why the share price is down. Tesla also has some price cuts from Goldman Sachs and Citigroup. I just wanted to call those out as well. That's what I'm seeing for headlines, at least for now. So what do I see for SPY? What is my personal opinion of this? We dipped even more all the way down to about 540. But I mentioned to everyone, if we lose 540, I would be concerned. If we hold it, then we could try to rebound. After the GDP numbers released, I think that there's a good chance we're going to be testing 542. If that breaks, I'll be looking for 544. So make sure you watch those levels very carefully. Now, if I look at the daily time frame, please note that this is also going to be very important. The daily, in my personal opinion, also has an interesting structure. We still have this big gap to fill down here, which will take us all the way down to the 536s. Now, if we lose 540, whether it's today or even next week, this gap could fill all the way down to 536. If we hold 540, because we're getting a more positive reaction so far, look for a test of 542. I think we're going to be testing 542 during the pre-markets, or by the time we open. If that breaks, we could be going up to about 544, but then we'll be watching to see if we establish a lower high and continue lower later on. But watch and see if we get a bit of a rebound. I think we might rebound just a little bit in the morning upon market open, but watch and see if we could hold these levels. So just to clarify, we might push a little higher upon open, retest 542 if not 544, but there's no guarantee it lasts, because if we do end up coming back down, watch 540 as critical support. If that fails us, we have this big gap to fill all the way down to 536. So watch that very, very carefully. That is my update for SPY. For other stocks like Nvidia, we're still looking kind of weak. We have a very, very bearish looking trend on the daily. And if we go to like the 4-hour time frame, you guys can see that we still have some gaps to fall all the way down to 110. So I think that Nvidia may attempt to test 115. If that breaks, look for 117. But as long as we're below 117, if we establish a lower high or not, there's still a risk of downside, as this chart is still downtrending. So we have a gap to fill down to 110. Then we also have 106 as another critical level. My gut tells me it might rebound a bit and continue lower, but there is still a risk of some downside. For Bitcoin is still kind of bearish. We have a head and shoulders like structure. We're kind of shuffling at 64,000. We'll have to see if this holds or not. If we don't hold this, look for 63,200. If we do hold this, we could be going up to 65,596. We're in the middle, so give this a little bit more time, in my personal opinion. For other stocks out there like ES is on a bit of a downtrend as well. There is a risk of this dipping lower, and I just wanted to call out that we still have this gap to fill. We haven't fully filled the gap on ES. ES is trying to rebound, so watch 5480 as a target. If it breaks that, we could get closer to 5500, but then watch and see if we get a rejection or not. For SPX, we're barely holding gap support at 5427. We could rebound a bit, but if we end up losing that support, we still have a big gap to fill all the way down to 53.72. So be careful, guys. There's still a risk of downside. NQ is also attempting to rebound a bit, could get close to 19,300, but watch and see if we get a rejection. It might rebound for the time being, so watch for that. Same thing with the QQQ, might rebound a little bit. We're currently testing 464. If that breaks, I'll be looking to see 468 as our next potential targets. If we manage to, hold above 464 and break past 465. If it does push up to 468 or so, do not turn overly bullish. We could still just establish a lower high and continue lower. If we end up losing 460, then we turn back to bearish. I'll be looking for 550 or 454 as the next potential target. I think we will rebound a little bit. We could get closer to 468 if we do try to rebound, but then watch and see if we establish a lower high and reject. For Aapl, we're also looking a little bit like we want to rebound. We could be retesting 220. We'll have to see if we hold above that or not. If we hit that and reject, we still could retrace back down to 216, then eventually down to this imbalance around 212. So look for a little rebound for now on Aapl. We could be retesting 220 and then see if we get a rejection or not. For the IWM, we're trying to rebound. We'll be looking for a test of 219. If that breaks, we could be looking for 222 all over again, but then watch to see if we get a rejection. We could be getting tighter right here. We could be forming like a nice little structure right here as well. So I'll be watching this very carefully just to see what kind of reaction we get. This could be our next the next pattern that's developing like this. So we'll see how it goes with the IWM and what kind of break we get. Coinbase is barely at support right now, but it may attempt to rebound. We could be retesting 243. If that breaks, look for 248. So look for a little rebound on Coinbase and see if you reject. If we get a big rejection, we could be tipping it back down to 234. If we hold this, we could rebound from here. I see a test of 243 and 248, and then we'll see if we reject or not. For Amzn has a nice head and shoulders like structure. We could be retesting 184. If you reject very close to the 185 area, we could come back down. If we lose 180, we turn bearish. If we rebound, look for 184 to be tested, if not higher levels. My gut tells me we're going to be retesting 184 a little bit higher, but watch and see if we get a rejection. We still have a head and shoulders on Amzn. It could just be a little rebound and then a rejection back down lower. For Meta, it's trying to rebound. I'm going to be looking at 468 as resistance, not to mention 473. Well, watch and see if these levels hold, but be very, very patient with Meta. Just know that it is attempting to rebound, at least for now, and we'll have to see how well we hold our levels. If we end up losing 460, we turn back to bearish. We can start tipping all the way down to 454, all the way down here. I think for now it's going to try to rebound. So look for a test of 468, if not 472, and see if we get a rejection or not. Microsoft is doing the same thing. Look for a rebound. We'll be looking for 430. If this breaks, look for 432, then 434. Then see if you get a rejection or not off those levels. If we break 434, we could turn back to bullish. Google, it's trying to rebound a bit. We'll have to see how it reacts to about 176 and see if we get a rejection. So watch for that as well. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my video. Market is trying to rebound just a bit. Make sure you watch 542 on SPY, not to mention 544, and we'll have to see how things go from here. With that being said, thank you all for listening. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you and peace out.